again.
When it comes to zombie flicks, which production element do you think is key to making a scary and memorable flick? Is it the makeup, the special effects, use of sound, something else? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Number 10. The first transformations, World War Z. We know, World War Z is nothing like the beloved book, but it's still a very entertaining zombie movie when taken on its own terms and contains many effective sequences. The opening sequence is among them, as Jerry and his family witness the rise of the zombies. Out of nowhere, people stuck in traffic start transforming into fast and bloody killers. They contort in grotesque manners, slam their heads into windshields, and, bite people. This understandably causes a lot of fear and panic, and the scene's use of shaky cam and quick cuts places viewers in the middle of the pandemonium. Now this is how you start a movie. Number 9. Rain, Resident Evil. Just by virtue of being played by Michelle Rodriguez, we knew that Rain would kick some butt. Unfortunately, she's the first member of the team to get bitten, and the clock tragically begins ticking. Rain's transformation throughout the movie is slow and difficult to watch.
When the time comes, you'll take care of it.
It becomes very obvious that she's dying. She becomes weaker and more fatigued, her skin turns a pale white, and she sweats so much she looks like she just hopped out of the shower.
I'm not dead yet.
Her final transformation is also quite creepy, as she stands up normally and cranes her neck before revealing those terrifying bright blue eyes. Why her teeth suddenly became rotten, we don't know. Number 8. Dawn, 28 Weeks Later. The 28 series famously reinvented the zombie genre. They aren't really zombies, they're infected. They don't mindlessly shamble about, they run. And coolest of all, it doesn't take hours or days to turn. It takes about, 10 seconds. The movie takes full advantage of this with the horrifying transformation of Don. Don kisses his wife Alice, not knowing that she's an asymptomatic carrier. He immediately begins twitching and frothing at the mouth, and it really isn't long before he's writhing on the floor and spitting up blood. He then attacks his wife, and it is grisly. It's a great sequence containing effective uses of music and sound design. Don actor Robert Carlyle is also excellent, his changing body language and expressions speaking volumes. Number 7. Jennifer, Wreck. This short but sweet Spanish zombie movie follows a news reporter named Angela who's visiting a local fire station. While she's there, the station responds to a call from a nearby apartment complex, which is being quarantined by the local authorities. While at the complex, Angela meets a sick young girl named Jennifer, whose mother claims is suffering from tonsillitis.
Oye, ¿cómo te llamas? Que lo sepa todo el mundo. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Jennifer.
Qué nombre más bonito.
The truth is, quite obviously, far more terrifying. In one of the movie's most effective sequences, little Jennifer suddenly bites into her mother's face before screeching at some responders and running upstairs. It's a startling sequence that's brilliantly filmed, and it's with this transformation that the movie veers into full nightmare territory.
Jennifer, tranquila, eh?
Number 6. Lieutenant Muldoon, Planet Terror. This zombie film from Robert Rodriguez is intentionally ridiculous. Originally released as one half of the Grindhouse double feature, it harkens back to the cheap, exploitative, and astoundingly gory horror films of the 70s. In this one, some type of biochemical agent is released into the air, turning the small town's citizens into zombies. Lieutenant Muldoon explains the origins of the gas before turning into some type of outrageous and grotesque monster.
Could infect a large enough populace.
We watch in horror as his face starts breaking out with gross bubbling boils, and before we know it, he's a giant slimy monster.
I never had a choice.
Despite the silly nature of the scene, there's a certain degree of unease to it, not to mention grossness.
God bless you and your service to this country.
Number 5. Leang #Alive. A South Korean horror film, #Alive effectively blends two pop culture fascinations, zombies and streaming. Oh Jun-woo is streaming video games when a zombie apocalypse begins outside his apartment. Naturally, he remains inside to stay safe. But curious, he cracks his door open and accidentally lets in a bitten neighbor named Lee Sung-chul, who then uses his bathroom.
감사합니다.
It goes about as well as you'd expect. It's not long before Sang-chul starts bleeding from his eyes and contorting in quick and jerky movements.
아니야.
He then attacks Jun-woo with a jump scare, capping an already horrific sequence with an effective startle. Number 4. Andy, Dawn of the Dead. Zack Snyder's first foray into the zombie genre was largely better than his second. A loose remake of George A. Romero's iconic original, Dawn of the Dead contains many effective zombie transformations, but perhaps the creepiest of them all is Andy's. The owner of a distant gun shop, Andy spends most of his apocalypse days on the roof, taking potshots at zombies and playing chess with Kenneth.
The sickness, you get up, come on, get down in the...
The mall group decides to send food over to Andy, but zombies break in during the attempt and bite him. Andy soon starts voraciously scribbling on his whiteboard, and through a wonderfully creepy reveal, we realize that he's turned.
Writing something. What's it say?
It's a very well-filmed and edited sequence, and further tension is added when Zombie Andy starts chasing Nicole. Number 3. The First Train Zombie, Train to Busan. Another great Korean film, Train to Busan mostly takes place on the titular locomotive. This naturally causes a lot of great tension, with the enclosed train setting offering palpable feelings of claustrophobia and panic. This gimmick is evident in the first transformation scene, which comes via a sick stowaway.
손님 괜찮으세요? 손님! 어떡해.
The young woman collapses, but when a train attendant radios for help, she slowly rises to her feet in the background. This photography trick has been done lots of times before, but it remains compelling. Adding to the horror is the woman's cracking neck and zombified appearance, which includes pale eyes and dark veins. Props to the makeup department on this one. That is one creepy zombie. Number 2. Chase's Resurrection, Overlord. This horror film from producer J.J. Abrams shares much in common with Planet Terror, including a similar grindhousey tone. In Overlord, a paratrooper squad lands in a small Nazi-occupied village and discovers grotesque human experiments underneath the church. A soldier named Chase is shot and killed by a Nazi soldier, but fellow American Boyce injects him with an experimental serum in the hopes of bringing him back to life. Not a good idea. It works, yes, but Chase quickly turns into a violent zombie-like creature. It's a horrific transformation, complete with lots of grisly visuals and revolting sound effects. Actor Ian DeCasticker certainly commits to the bit, what with his contortions and blood-chilling screams. Number 1. Frank, 28 Days Later. Poor Frank was the heart of 28 Days Later, and he's the only one of the 4 main characters to die. His death is both scary and deeply tragic. Frank suffers the worst luck of all when a small drop of infected blood falls into his eye. Frank quickly begins growling and snarling as his body contorts, and his young daughter is forced to watch her loving father go mad. Luckily, incoming soldiers put him down before protagonist Jim is forced to act. Brendan Gleeson's physicality is terrific, as is the music and the sound design of the snarling. The fact that it's so painfully quick, combined with the fact that Frank dies in front of his daughter, makes it even scarier.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.